Hi everybody, it's Bill, and it is the weekend before Christmas. I've got a little bit of time tonight to play out in the garage, and as you can see, I'm making one heck of a mess. I'm going to be on Santa's naughty list maybe for how my garage is going to look, but you know what? If he brings me coal, I'll make good use out of it. So just a couple of things on this one. You can see I've moved all of my buildings. We've had a tectonic shift and everything is shoved down to the far end of the layout. I got a lot of the ballasting done. Still have to do it around the switches. Got to paint and then ballast there. I think all y'all know that's a little delicate area, so you got to take your time. But you can see in here, I was starting to put down blacktop from a Woodland Scenics product, but the more I looked at it, the more I just did not like it on the layout. So what I'm going to do is remove it. Areas like right here where I'm going to have grade crossings, I have to bring it up anyway, so it just didn't look good with the asphalt and blacktop here. It would probably look good in small areas because you can see just by rubbing it, or putting some top coat on with chalk, I could make it look good. But in this application, nah. So what I'm doing is I'm doing like I did with my heavy maintenance and light maintenance shops. I'm going to remove a lot of the pink foam board, go down about 1/4 to maybe 1/2 inch, and I'm going to pour plaster. So every place that has the asphalt color now is going to go into a concrete mode. So I'm going to pour plaster in there. I can get some little styrene strips and I can build it up from the rail so that I can actually have a little ramp that goes down. All of this concrete area here is going to be flush with the existing pink foam board. What I did over on the heavy maintenance shop and light maintenance shop was I made it stand up. This one I'm not. All the buildings are going to sit on the foam court and I'm going to go from there. And here's the mess about 30 minutes later. Oh, a vacuum cleaner is definitely going to get a workout and I'm finished with this. More in a little while. And about another 30 minutes later. What a mess. Oh, looks like a bomb went off on the layout. But I have everything dug out. I'll show you the tool that I use real quick here. And over here you can see the pads that I poured that are elevated. The pads that I'm going to pour in the industrial complex are not going to be elevated, they're going to be flush. Here's the tool that I like to use. It's a beading tool. So you can use this to break the bead on a tire. You can use this to kind of pry a little bit, but this works perfect when digging in to this kind of material. It goes in and then you get it to pop out and you get these nice chunks. So something that works pretty well. Next short video, it will be cleaned up. All right, amazing what a little vacuuming will do. Still got some cleanup to do on the other end once the buildings are out of the way, and I'll put this stuff back, retrieve that big purple granite boulder that's down there, and start. So that's all I'm going to do for today. I'm going to mix up the hydrocal, do that tomorrow, and then I'm going to pour. And I should have this pretty well done, at least for the plaster, by this time tomorrow. More video to come. All right, now Saturday afternoon. I've got my slow set plaster of Paris in. I've got the pour done for at least the initial pads. You can see it's already skimmed over as it's drying, and I've got most of it just a little bit higher than the pink foam board. I mean, just a hair higher. so that I can go back in, I can give it a quick light sand. That should even it out and get it pretty well flush with the pink foam board. Next step will be, I'm going to build up a couple of little sides, like right on this side and this side, so it's the same elevation here. I'll use some little scrap pieces of wood to kind of curve this around. I've got to build in my crossover here yet, but that I can do a little later. But then I'll make a pour here, and I'll do the same thing over on this side, a little extension, make it a little bit elevated, make a pour going off. Then once everything is pretty well dry, I will scribe in some expansion joints, add some other detailing, cracking, weathering, probably add a few little storm drains, just some other little details, and then I can set the buildings back in position. Then I can start to go on down to the far end there where I've got more crossovers, and I'm going to do the same thing. A little barrier to keep the plaster in, run it in between crossovers, and take it off the layout. That one probably will weather a little bit heavier than this one up here, make it look a little bit older as it kind of goes out of the industrial area. So next one should show it sanded and weathered, and maybe I'll have gotten that done. Don't know, just depends on how ambitious I am today. More coming. Well, it's later in the evening, and even though you can't really see it well, I've got some lines etched for joints in the parking lot area. I've got like a center line, even though you really can't see it very well, etched in the access roads. Still have to build this one up a little bit, as well as the one over there. Got a fair amount of cleaning to do yet. I'm going to let it all dry, and then I'll brush the plaster out, especially this one. What a mess. Others just a little bit here and there, so I can live with that. Luckily, on this one right here, yeah, this is where the road's going to go over. So I'm going to be cutting balsa wood to kind of match up with this. And it'll fill in those gaps on that one. It'll fill in the gaps on this one over here, as well as over here. So much of my mistakes are going to be covered up. I will clean this up really good in here because I still have to paint it and ballast it. So by the time I'm done, all of it's going to be gone. But that is for another day. Another video will be probably about from 24 hours after this one. All right, 24 hours later, and the pads are looking pretty good. Since there is no real access to the bottom of the plaster pads to let the moisture get out, it's going to take days for this to cure well. So I'm not going to be doing anything more on it until probably after Christmas. So probably 3, 4, maybe 5 days down the road. I'll let it dry. I've got other things to do. I can put the buildings back if I want, so that I can kind of work on other areas of the layout. I do have grade crossings pretty well wrapped up over on this particular area. So I'm gonna let everything dry before I do the concrete. I'll do continued weathering, and you can see this one actually turned out pretty good. This is the one where I dumped the plaster into the switch. I got it pretty well cleaned up. Still have some work to do over here. I've got to test it more with various train cars. These boards do sit a little proud of the rail heads. This is code 70 rail, so it sits a little on the low side. So I might have to adjust my KDs, the trip pins a little bit, but that's okay. I can get it up and I can trim them back. Actually, I think that'll probably make them look better anyway. Just need to make sure that my flange is clear, and if not, I will take a X-Acto knife and just sort of trim back ever so slightly in some of these areas. But right now, I'm going to let everything cure a little bit before I get to that point. So anyway, next video should have this pretty well back together. Should have my buildings in position, and I will be starting to do scenery in and around on the other sides of the concrete roads that are going into the industrial park. So that's all for now. Keep having fun with your railroad, guys and gals, and talk to y'all soon. Thanks.